options by my expert. We again have our in-house nutritionist who would curate the meal. Because when at a point when you're saying you have certain wellness things, I think it has to go back in your canteen as well, right? Because agar wo samosa, chaat, wo to 4 baje ka, that snack time, we will always rush in. Unless and until I have a solution to it, then it's just a tick in my box, right? So we went through, we curated those snacks, those meals, and trust me, the nutrition food is also could be tasty, and she's done a real good job, our in-house, nutritionist. So this is one aspect, because I think the way they say are, you are what you eat, right? And it is so true, right? And I think this has to be very holistic. So I covered the mental aspect, the nutrition, the physical aspect of it, right? And for us, this was not just during the pandemic, but we had taken these measures long before, and it was something as walk the talk. So we started with the leadership doing all this thing. They were our champions, and then we also had champions for wellness within the organizations. So we were a little off HR, so now wellness is quite driven by the employees, and we're happy that, as HR, I go and actually participate. So that's more on the, physical part. And for financial wellness, and which I think is the most critical thing, because many of us say, money can't buy happiness. Really? Not really. Yeah, because I think I still need money to buy that happiness. So for us, when we started our journey of VOW, the first pillar that we built was the financial wellness, where we went through with various platform vendors which are there, and how do we ease the process of lending the money in terms of towards the social well-being, where we have a couple of things that we cover under it. I'll keep it brief. The only thing that I would like to let you know is we follow a framework called as PAVE, which is P stands for your passion, A is action, V is value, and E is the most important, that is emotion. Yeah. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you, Edi, for sharing it. One of the important points which you mentioned is driving it through the leadership. Because many a times the wellness and the well-being is not driven by the leaders. In the top management, वो बोलते हैं हमारा काम नहीं है, वो HR का काम है. But ideally, it should go top down. When they do it, people look at them and they follow the same, right? Because अगर मैं किसी employee को बोलूँ भाई go and do a walk, make a thing and all, वो बोलेगा boss मेरे पीछे पड़ा हुआ है, काम खत्म करना है मुझे, तुम मुझे ये सब activity और रंगोली वंगोली में मत involve करो. What top down? The leaders also need to be part of these activities, and that's when it will happen. Similarly goes for the institution and colleges. When the teachers follow, when the management of the college follows, then the students will look forward to it and they will also follow. So we need to look at the holistic approach, and that's where it happens.
I'll just add on to the Rangoli part, because that's where it boils down to. But trust me, it's more than that, because again it drives to well-being, and I think we should go and have that Rangoli put up, right? It's so much critical to our well-being. What we would do traditionally in India, our mothers, we would have Angan. I do not know the part that I come from quite a rural part of Maharashtra, where we would use a cow dung. I've seen that, and we would put up that Rangoli, right? And I think that's also a creative thing going on, and that was a wellness for our...
Definitely. I think there was a therapy. In fact, Edi, what has happened is, how many people know mandala? A lot of people started doing that to release their stress, right? Yes. That's one. That is what Rangoli kya hai, wahi hai. Same cheese. It has been put up in a more fancy way into mandala. People started using it to remove their stress. From student till corporate, whoever it is going and doing that. That's a very beautiful artistic meme that HR se Rangoli banata hai. Okay, over to you, Swati. In fact, I would like to hear from you what, as per you, is well-being, and if I have to ask what your organization, or probably in your view, wellness, types of wellness are, or well-being is.
Okay, thank you. My name is Swati. I'll just introduce myself. I run a company called Info Studio, and whatever I'm going to tell you right now is from my experience before Info Studio, where I was working with organizations and I was leading HR in the last 2 organizations. And I'm going to pick up a couple of things from these organizations to tell you what well-being actually means to me. So well-being actually does not mean one-off activity that we have, maybe a Diwali activity of doing Rangoli, maybe having a psychologist on board. I think well-being is a thought process. Well-being has to be in the DNA of an organization. You can't say that, it is okay for people to stay back at work for 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours, and then have a psychologist walk into the office once every Friday. You cannot do that. That logic does not work. It does not tune in. You are looking at your attrition data. You are seeing that there are 30% of people that are getting churned out of your organization, but you still don't care to look at the skip level data. You still don't want to go and have that conversation with people saying what is bothering you. You're still not sure whether the succession planning that you've done, the managers and the leaders under you are actually treating your people in the right way or not. So if you are talking about well-being has to be on the base of psychological safety. It has to be a space where people are free to live physically, mentally, and spiritually. So there are so many aspects. So we are talking about financial security, etc. Of course, the salaries, bonuses, etc. That should be done very scientifically. You do your market corrections, etc. Whatever. However, if you're specifically talking about mental well-being, which I'm specifically talking about it, is because that is something we tend to neglect. Even as somebody who was taking calls to make sure that mental well-being is taken care of, I have neglected it in a lot of times because I had pressure of numbers, I had pressure of recruitment, I had pressure of releasing salaries on time, I had pressure of so many key resources leaving and projects suffering, and in all of that, it's my first slip out is mental well-being. Okay, and that is when I try to put a little bit of gauges in those puzzles, saying, okay, let me just get a psychologist to do this. Let me just announce some additional leaves to take care of maybe your children, adoption, preparing for your examinations, etc. I feel well-being has to be thought through. Gone are the days when we were working, we are not even in the knowledge era anymore. If you know, we have moved from the industrial age to the knowledge age, we've moved to the social age. And if you're talking about social age, we will have to wake up, shake up, and understand we are dealing with real human beings. Deal very unrealistic goals and making sure that everybody struggles, hustles, and everybody becomes insecure, and that is how we are going to gain performance, it's not going to work. There has to be a holistic way of looking at things. It has to be, unfortunately, looked from top. There has to be external resources who have to be hired on the panel who could help us make this work. If you are in business, that's my thought.
That was really nice, Swati. And again, the point, holistic approach, leadership, okay? Root cause, first of all, to understand. These all points came from your discussion right now. The areas you covered, again, the three common things came across: holistic, leadership, and from the root cause you need to understand and do it. So these are the focus areas which needs to be understood before you bring all these external parties, the psychologists, the nutritionists, and other people to bring. So that is something which we as an individual also need to understand, and when I started this session, I told very clearly this point. We have to focus on the well-being. Nobody else is going to come and do that. That's where the point comes in. Now over to you, KK. I would like to understand from you, rather from the audience side, I would like to ask you this question is, when we talk about well-being and wellness, how do we look at this with regards to the business side of it?
A very pertinent question. Thank you. From the corporate side, if you go to see, it has a direct impact on the business. Okay, and as I say, any organization which takes care of the psychological, wellness part of it, it has a direct impact on business results. Okay, there are four areas which are very clear cut. It comes out as a clear win. I call it grip. Okay, A is innovation and P is productivity. So when you have the well-being of the people being taken care by the organization by variety of ways, okay, and it includes all the dimensions of your physical wellness, your financial wellness, your spiritual wellness, you know. So it has direct impact on the top line of the organization, and it takes care of this four part of it. So your attrition will directly come down. Okay, Alapini touched upon one of the very important aspect of having tie-up as a corporate with an organization which is outside the organization, wherein you as an employee can reach out to them 24/7. There are many organizations that I am aware of which have existed much earlier than COVID, came to our lives, and their engagement levels have really gone up across the industry and sectors. So wherein people have reached out to these people because you feel comfortable sharing your pain with a person whom you do not know, but very much qualified, and a psychologist on the other side, which will answer to all your questions, and without any bias kind of thing, and which can help you to lead a much more tense-free life morning in the organization. So coming to back to the question, it has a direct impact, no one can deny, and the whole concept of wellness has only deep-rooted and enhanced post-COVID. So pre-COVID and post-COVID, I think there is a clear-cut demarcation we all have seen in our own organizations. Yeah, for example, your work from home concept, people used to hesitate, and today we know that even in the interviews, people are asking, how many days will I get work from home? So us level pe aa gaye hum abhi.
Correct.
है ना? So it's very important. Everyone is looking for more comfort with additional, dimensions, adjectives, yeah, using various synonyms, and we have to catch up those words to understand the real sense out of it.
I think we are on time. All of the panelists has actually, shared their views.
So when you design any, like wow, what you have designed, right? So what are your special considerations there? Like, do you see the current situation happening in the company? Because to be very honest, look, I've been building product from last 7 years, okay? And the shift what I'm seeing after COVID specifically, okay, is that the product development is fast now, okay, and sometimes teams are not able to cope up with that, and that's the reason a lot of hiring and firing is going on in the team, like in the companies, a lot of companies, okay. So to balance this out, do you plan these kind of how do you manage, what's your primary, what do you say, characteristics or parameters, okay, when you design these what do you say,
Programs, wellness programs.
Programs, correct.
Thank you. I think I wanted to cover that aspect because that's very critical. Because end of the day, it boils down to ROI, right? I think we've not covered that. But I want to bring another element, that's ROV. So we talk about money because without budgets, without doing this, we cannot justify what we are doing. I think. Yeah, sorry. So I think what goes, because I also come from a product engineering background, and which helped me to curate these kind of products. So what helps here is you go back to your data, which is critical. Okay. So I consider the approach of DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, boils down to something else in wellness, that is data, experience, and insights. So what would my data see? I had to take a couple of steps back before coming to WOW. One is I also looked at my insurance data. What are my claims for, right? If my claims are for a specific ailment, am I catering that in my WOW program? Okay. when I design my home options, which is healthy options by my expert, I go back. When she does a counseling, what are those counseling ailments for? I work for 24/7 company. Might be acidity reflux is a great spike which I see in my employees, right? So when you devise these programs, you have to depend on data and technology very much, because I think that's when the nudge will come. And how do you then integrate that in your HRMS or your in-house products also matter, because end of the day, I think we all are having our wearable gadgets, right? We are driven. I mean, how much ever we talk about detoxification of this digit, we still are having those. So I think when you design such programs, you have to highly depend on data. And the only thing is, I think, please don't ape from A organization to B organization their wellness programs, because your data is so rich and it's going to give you what to do. So when we had counseling sessions with the nutritionist, we found obesity as one of the concerns, right? Because of IT company, a typical day looks like you have a sedentary lifestyle, right? So nudges over that. So I think when you design, take the data, and also it's not just an HR agenda, it's a partnership. So I have my wellness champions within my organization, and I bring them in when I develop this program, because that's how it's a partnership.
Just
Thank you.
added a question on more of a quality data.
Quantitative data, very
Correct.
right.
So quantitative data is you can
The number of
you
people
can,
coming,
you can
utilization
get the
and all.
numbers, right?
Yeah.
But what about the qualitative data? Like, what about that? So how do you judge that and get all those aspects?
Absolutely. Like for example, now when you have this, the numbers are very high when you start any program, right? And slowly they deplete. Whether with the virtue of time, and unless and until you have a sustainable approach, right? So your quantitative numbers are going to be always be up, down, okay? But when it comes to qualitative, you have to have that data points through multiple data sets. One is through your one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Second is your pulse surveys. We also go to an extent that we do only wellness surveys in my organization. Because see, as I said, I cannot go back and design something which is working in X organization very well. I am very related to data. Data speaks volumes for me, and I use it for qualitative and quantitative aspect as well.
Just to add to what Adi said, any day, the standard people who are there, pick up them, understand from them whatever the survey has given the output, understanding from employees also, and then making a program and implementing it. And there is a regular feedback to see the quality, how it is, how the outputs are coming, and keep on refining the program. That's where you will be able to understand, okay, what we had developed versus what is coming out, and whether it is impacting and giving the rightful results to our employees or not. That's what you can derive on.
I just want to in your organization. For example, you have a HRMS, right? How do you make those API connected with those set of applications? Because otherwise, again, the usage is also a problem. I've seen that. You build your SSOs, you build those APIs, connect those, make it one world for employees as a one-stop solution, and you'll see more of usage.
I would like to thank our panelists.
Session indeed. I just wanted to ask, like I'm a professor in this college, so talking about well-being, where do we draw a line that productivity is not hampered and also well-being is taken care of? Like they don't like the students or the employees, they don't become complacent, but they're also taken care of, like mentally and so to say emotionally. So how do we inculcate that in terms of like right from the student life, so that they know how much is their right in terms of professional in terms of professional field, and how much they are supposed to do. This is the line, iske niche to they can't be like, I mean, iske niche gaya to productivity pe question aa jayega. Something like that. How can we as professors, teachers and mentors, how can we develop?
I would love to answer this, but I think I should give.
And make them industry ready at the end of it. And still there is a huge gap and they are not able to cope up. So how do we take care of the well-being thing on our part? Thank you so much.
Connecting this topic to the education part of it, during our days, okay, we always used to, we all recollect that there used to be some शर्मा जी का लड़का in our class.
Comparison.
So अभी भी है ना, हाँ. तो शर्मा जी का लड़के से हमको कंपेयर किया जाता था हमेशा. Okay. And then in the next coming test and all, our parents used to be more concerned कि शर्मा जी के लड़के से तुम्हारे को अच्छा नंबर आया है कि नहीं. You know, that's the problem. अच्छा आया तो ठीक है, नहीं आया तो भी problem है फिर. अभी शर्मा जी okay. Competition is always healthy. Okay. Now coming back to madam's question is actually, you know, I understand a lot of pain and pressure on the professors also. Okay. The reason being, it's you know, my wife is also a professor. Okay.
Direct.
So
Direct pulse you're getting.
Pulse always, you know, I understand. So she is also professor and she takes biotech and botany. Okay. So which is all bouncer for me actually. I have been a commerce student. Okay. Now, but yes, I am aware as an academician also, you know, many of the organizations, you know, who are into education industry, they have tied up with some of the organizations, which I told during my interaction now also, that the people can reach out to them on any variety of topic that is troubling them. It could be personal and, you know, and it could be relevant to other members in the family as well, because you get, you know, expectations are being raised from all the your people at home with all relations, and of course education, you know, institution involved.
Mentor-mentee session, like
Yeah.
we have mentees, I mean, assigned
True.
to each professor. So
That's
we can take
direct,
up
yeah.
Yes.
That's direct. You know the person, and he or she knows you.
Can I kind of
Ah.
add on something which you're missing part is that every college is having a mandatory have to have a number of students versus the one full-time.
Yeah, that ratio is
The
there.
ratio needs to be maintained. Yes.
Yeah.
1:14.
Yeah. Additionally to that, one counselor which you have told us that there has to be a qualified counselor to guide them, to call people. And again, like there are lots of parameters which I understand because I have been working with education institutions for very well. So let me finish that. So it is like, let's bring a balance.
Wait, but okay. So, ma'am, I understand your pain. I'm a guest faculty with NMIMS and TIS, so I take credit papers, and I usually have a batch of more than 50 people. Okay, and this is a very relevant question that comes in our faculty discussions and all of that. But what I've figured over time is you don't need to give that separate attention on ये खुश है कि नहीं या नहीं. We overdo it at times, and somewhere I feel now students know it. Okay, I'll give you an example.
Then also they're sort of privileged.
Know it, they know exactly how to manipulate. They know that, they don't exploit, but they know how to manipulate. They are harmless manipulation, whatever. So there was this boy who wouldn't come to class, and he came one of these days. On the 7th class he comes, and I thought something is really wrong with him, you know, home, ye wo, whatever. After the class I sat with him and I said, okay, what is wrong? This is a safe space, you can talk to me. I thought maybe, and then he said, you pakka, you'll not talk to anybody about it. I said, okay, whatever. And then he went into his deep thought, and he came back and said, he likes drinking in the night. That goes on too long, so he can't wake up for my first class. This is an MBA student telling me, okay, and I didn't know what the solution was. And then he said, please attendance de do, purana wala. Okay, so this is, and I put half an hour of my time with him, thinking maybe something, because he would be lost. He would just be lost in class, 1 or 2 days that he came. And I thought maybe something is wrong. So I figured sometimes we overthink, as long as we are not being nasty with them. We're not going overboard with saying that, okay, chillana is okay, beating is okay, as long as we don't do these things. And we notice those small things that there are going to be bullies in the class are doing, and we are cognizant of it. I think it is fine. Yeah?
But the same thing goes with the corporate also.
Very stressed out. We do get stressed out to manage the management and the employees. Okay. In that scenario, when we look at the professors at your stage, what happens is there is an expectation from the parent side on the students. student looks at the freedom in the colleges, because they know there is a law now. You can't be stricter, you can't hit them, you can't talk to them rudely. What happens, they utilize that in front of the professors, then the pressure comes in. You guys have a deliverance pressure, since your management is telling you to deliver on something, that the quality of the student should be out. But now here what is happening, your hands are tied. There is a new way, there need to be innovative way to handle them, but not pressurized. But since you guys are also human, the pressure comes from the management of delivery. The students are not listening to you. I'm not talking about all the students, but there will be some of the students which are difficult to manage, because they are like, I don't want to listen, मेरे को सुनना ही नहीं है. So, parents are telling something to come. This is not a stream which I have selected, but करना है. I don't have to focus. Now in this scenario, the professors are pressured up. They want to deliver and they have to just move out because numbers have to be ticked. In this case, what happens is the management need to understand. Similarly, the parents need to understand and speak to the students. There is a counseling which should happen internally. You don't have to call an outside counselor to do the job, because वो आएगा पहले तो पल समझेगा फिर करेगा. You are the one who are living in that. You should sit with the parent. First of all, understand where the difficult student is. Call the parent and speak to them. First, you are making the life of the student difficult, and when we are trying to help the student, it is not happening. It is making our life difficult then. So there is a communication which is missing out. Try working out this small communication which will help the student also. It is not going to be only the professor who is getting pressure, but the student who is not realizing the pressure right now will later on, once reach the corporate or set in a business which is a family business, will face the pressure and go to a different tangent altogether. So when you are looking at, again coming to the point, holistic approach, you are pressurized, you need to understand where the cause is, where the root is, and sit and counsel. No need of external counselor. You are the one who are in it, counsel each other and get a solution out of it. Even the management, for that matter, a lot of times the management pressurizes because you are delivering, you are facing the student. Why student sun kyun nahi raha hai? Why the students are not following the rules and regulation? It is coming on the professors. Management also need to understand, they are also human. What are you as a management adding on, putting a support to the professors, which is very much needed. A professor has their own house also, they have their own family pressures also. You can't extend that. Unki well-being ka bhi socho. Okay, that is something which is, again, the top-down approach needs to be there. The view needs to come and the execution needs to happen at the top, that it comes, at the lower, at the ground level also. Again, the second point of leadership, say, aane wala kaam, that again came. So, holistic approach needs to be there. And when you realize from yourself that there is a problem, there is a concern, I rather use the word problem, there is a concern which we need to resolve, it needs to be understanding. Communication is not one way, it is two-way communication, and it will not be done till the time the other person, the receiver, is not understanding your output. So when you counsel, I think if you resolve that problem at the student side, your issues or your concern, your mental well-being will be taken care of, or to support on that. They cannot pressure you only on numbers. They need to understand that the problem or the concern is lying where. That needs to be resolved. It is not only money, it is not only about completing the courses, it is all about understanding each other, because we are dealing humans, right? As an HR, we deal with humans. You guys are also dealing with humans, and that too adults in age. They are changing. They have question, and in fact my panelists are also very able to answer. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
What?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
And thank you for increasing our wellness quotient. So team HR Wing and HK College, thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.
For a picture, and okay, I would request everyone to please sit down. I would like to call Neha ma'am on the stage for giving us a thank you note.
Good evening, everyone. Before proposing vote of thanks, the key takeaways from the panel discussion is summarized on the screen. As we come close to the enlightening HR conclave, I stand before you to express our heartfelt gratitude to all those who made this event a remarkable success. First and foremost, I would like to thank our trustees and management of Humaira Khan Institute of Management Studies and Research for giving us this opportunity. I would like to thank our distinguished speakers, panelists for sharing their invaluable insights and expertise. I extend my sincere appreciation to our organizing committee for their tireless efforts in planning and executing the event. A special thank to our sponsor and partner for their generous support, which played a crucial role in making this conclave possible. To all the attendees, thank you for the active participation and enthusiasm. I would now request everyone to please stand up for the national anthem.
भारत माता की जय, वंदे मातरम.
I would request everyone to please be seated and to please come near the dais for a group photo.
Smile.
Say cheese.
पनीर भी खा सकते हो.
एक मिनट वेट.
कोई जाना भी मत. You take the mobile and come here.
Yes.
Let's say salary.
बोनस क्यों नहीं? ये बड़ा क्वेश्चन है. बोनस क्यों नहीं? ये सेशन बोनस था ना? हाँ.